Hey, good afternoon. Hello, hello. Carmel gets first love. Hope you are well. Hope you had a nice weekend. I mean, being retired every day is kind of a weekend for us, right? At least I think so. Um, and I spent quite a bit of time in my garden. So even in the rain, I was out there and well, I hate to say anything's finished, right? Because there's constant maintenance, but everything that I'm going to plant today is planted. Um, so very excited. Hope to get the camera out there and take a picture of my small garden, but it is still mine. And it's funny, I was about to judge my garden, but I'm not going to judge it. I was going to say it's not really elegant, but it works and I'll be able to get everything out of it. So, you know, I'm not on acres and acres and acres. Carmel, do you have a garden? I don't think you do. I don't think you said you had a garden, but I don't recall now. Okay, I got these two boys. I gave them their treats and they are eating it. Rain. It is 95 Fahrenheit. Oh my gosh. Oh, no, no, no. See, I don't do well in that kind of heat. As a matter of fact, today was a toasty day, but it was nice. What is the weather? It is 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's been mostly sunny. There's some clouds, but it's been mostly sunny, which is good. And I think the temperature tonight will go down into the low 60s. So I'm sorry, am I in your way, puppy? I'm being shoved over. So it's definitely going to be nice. And tomorrow it's going to get up to 82 but cloudy. And that's okay. I'm not overly concerned with the next several days. We don't get rain until Saturday, projected at the moment. So that's okay. I'm not going to complain. I have two gardens, one in front of my apartment and one in back. Nice. Now, are you a flower person or a veggie person? I think I've shared what I'm growing. Did I share what I'm growing? Well, I'm growing mostly vegetables, but I do have some flowers. I do have to get some nasturtiums. They're good for detracting the bad bugs to go to that flower so that everything else will grow and not be infested. So I have to do that. If I don't do it tomorrow, I'll do it Thursday. My plans to go help my brother have been delayed. They're not canceled, they're just delayed. Richard is in the house. Hello, Richard. We were just talking how beautiful it is here. But Crumel is experiencing 95 degrees. So he's pretty toasty over there. And I said it's about 80, 82 here, which no complaints. It is a little toasty, but there's clouds, and so it's not direct sun. I have mostly reeds at the moment. Well, I understand that. It took me quite a bit of time to get rid of my weeds. And some of them I am accepting and allowing. I have a sign on my fence that says, please pardon the weeds, I'm feeding the bees. And that's how I feel. It's not perfect. And so I will really work hard to take a video and show you guys around a little bit. I may practice that for Thursday. And yes, I am going to, well, I don't want to promise. I don't know. Right now, my plans are so up in the air. We'll see what happens. I'm hoping to be able to head up to my brother's. So we'll see how it goes. I'll keep you guys in the loop. But as it is almost 5 past the hour, we should probably jump in. And the gardener is coming Friday or Saturday. Excellent. Love that. Are you the gardener or did you hire someone? I don't mean to be a sassy pants, but I thought I would see, what you were What were you doing? What's your plan? So let me get to um I feel like this is shaking. So Richard, do you have a garden? I don't know. I don't know if we've ever talked about it. I hire someone. Yeah. I and the whole joy for me in the garden is doing it, but I must tell the truth that it was harder this year. And I did downsize this year. And I'm not sure why, if it was just my physical being not strong as it has been in the past, and I am working on that. Um, but stuff happens. What are you going to do? Stuff happens. I'm really trying to build up that strength. But today we're just sort of talking about, the chaos in life, and are we preventing our own blossoming? And as you know, I like to tie everything together with gardening. Um, and sometimes when we talk about blossoming, whether it is a plant or it is us as humans, it feels like a flower opening and more like a plant screaming, I'm doing my best, but I can't get there. Richard says, me and my wife have some perennial plants, some of which flower for a good time and some of which flower for a short period. Yeah, and I miss my garden. Go ahead, boys. And no barking, please. Um, my old house, I literally, because I was there almost 20 years, had spent thousands of dollars on perennials, bulb after bulb after bulb. So I have tons of hostas and yuccas. Um, I had the most beautiful Rosa Sharon trees and hollyhocks, which are every other year they come up. Um, Tulips and daffodils and daisies and Shasta daisies and irises, but irises that came from Amsterdam. I'm not going to Holland. I'm not going to try to say the K word, but it's tons of tulips. I mean, I believe that you can't have too many. Um, I also had in my old garden phlox. So phlox, both the ground cover and the tall kind. Most people here consider them weeds. I'm like, bring it on. Um, and then, so what I've started with once I'd started a vegetable garden, I started with nasturtiums and marigolds. They offset and attract certain bugs and critters so that the flowers are being attacked. Carmel says that's what I was doing in my former garden. Did everything myself, from digging a pond by hand to completely structuring the whole place. Wow. I had fantasies of building a labyrinth because I was going to use my property as a meditation retreat, and not just meditation, but a retreat. And I love walking labyrinths. Um, and this one was going to be a beautiful rock one with various herbs that people could cut and take with them. And we would have packages created and crystals created, well, not created, but, put together so that it would address certain things for people. Oh, what a dream, what a dream, what a dream. But, that's why I'm talking about blossoming. And sometimes it's chaotic. And sometimes, you know, we have these majestic, fantastic plans and things interrupt. Now, from I'll say religious perspective, in God's timing, maybe there's something better coming along. And that's very romantic. I would love to believe that something better is on the horizon. Energetically, again, something similar. It just wasn't meant to be at that time. But as we talk about becoming and morphing into the person that I want to be, you know, it's going to come out so wrong. I'm slightly unhinged. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to get to where I'm going. I don't have GPS to get where I'm going. I should use that as a title for a live. Hold on, I got to write that down because I have schmutz for brain. Okay. Hopefully, I'll remember that and I won't go, GPS? Of course I have GPS. I know it, Richard. You can do it. You can do it. It's too easy. I make it easy sometimes for everybody to laugh. But it's not always easy. It's not always a soft evolution out of the earth. It's not always, oh, I want to own my own business. Boom. There's so many steps that go in preparation for whatever it is that we want. Building a garden. Cromel didn't go out one day and say, I'm magically gonna have, a pond, right? You had to plan it. You have to know where to dig it. You have to know how deep you want it. I don't know if, where he lives, if he put a liner in where my brother is, which I will show you when I get there. He created a really big hole, but he put plastic on the inside and then filled it with a lot of boulders and stuff for the dogs. But he'll find any number now of frogs that are attracted to it. And I think sometimes, I envision, and we've talked about this beautiful flower bursting out. Think of a dahlia or a daisy or a black-eyed Susie, which I really love. It's supposed to be this gentle, poetic, lovely, unfolding, flowery flower. It's like sometimes something triggers an emotion, a um, a bombshell. Oh, can I say that word? Some explosion of seeds that are cramping each other, or they didn't grow, or they didn't take. Um, it's kind of funny, it's like I water myself, right? And somehow, it just doesn't, it's not enough. No, a nature pond see. Ooh. I'm going to Cromel for a second. I'm going to his nature pond. Let's see what we see. Dun, 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 dun. I'm going to keep scrolling. Keep scrolling. I don't know. Those are beautiful photos, though. And I know you're a photographer. Gorgeous. These are really beautiful. I don't think I ever saw that you posted this. And maybe there's a beautiful flower there, though. Nice. We're doing a tour of Crumel's garden. All right, I'll continue to look at these because there's an elephant. Wow. All right, I'm getting distracted. ADD girl. So thank you for that, Cromel. That's beautiful, actually, and I'll come back to it. And I have to get to my thought. What was I saying? Oh, just it's not always easy, and sometimes I feel like I ambush myself or something ambushes me. Now, I'm getting ready, and this isn't morbid, so hopefully nobody takes it this way, but I'm redoing my will, my last will and testament, and I'm trying to figure out things that happen. I'm also getting my healthcare proxy reassigned, and I'm really trying to think more strategic. I don't have children, so there's no kid that in theory would be semi obligated, right, to come and take care of you, to be there to visit. I don't have nieces or nephews that would do that. And given that I'm not local to them, it would make it even more impossible. And I know this, and it's not, there's no negative reflection. It's just not our relationship. And I don't have immediate cousins in the area that would. Now, if I moved, I have cousins that would absolutely be, sort of a support system for me. But it's not realistic. You can't pay me to go to Florida. I'm not going to that state even to visit. Well, I'll go visit her maybe. But I think, it's where do you want to go and who do you want to have take care of you? And so I think about these communities that I think I could create this environment. I could have property with 3 or 4 tiny homes or mobile homes, um, in which we have a centered area that we could all congregate to or stay in our own spaces and just chill out. But there's a check and balance system, right? So that's one of my um, gardens in my head, my life garden. And but it becomes chaotic because is it realistic? And where would I want to do this? And would anyone want to even go? Right? So that's the other thing. It's um, you know, growth can be hilarious. It's like the growth on a girl's face. All of a sudden, you have this beard. Where the hell did that come from? But you're losing it from your head. I'm not losing hair, thank goodness. But as you can tell, it is um, going white. And but I just think about the outrageousness as we try to blossom. There's this false sense that everything comes easy or that it is easy to plan, or that if you build it, they will come. I could build it and then no one will ever come. So, yeah, it is called life, I think. But I'm trying to say that great. So life comes at you, but then what? So you're partnered. That is a blessing. And in your case, it does sound like, Richard, you have a nice relationship. Doesn't have to be perfect, but that plus you're raising children. So, and you're still young. And you have a foundation of a familial support. It's a choice I made, so there's no complaint here. I'm not complaining. I don't want to go back in time and abracadabra and have this mysterious, wonderful family. It's not what was on the cards in the cards for me. I just that's I know that, I believe that, I feel that. Right, Richard. So that's true. Mish posted something. I have to go see it, but I know it's true. And I think about my brother's property. Granted, he's in the woods, so some clearing would absolutely have to happen. And P.S. I'm building this on his property without him even having an idea about me doing this, but it's just the idea. And I've teased him, multiple times. Well, we could make it an old lady community. He's like, just what I need, more women in my life. Um, but it is about building that community. And I talk about this, even with Karen Suki, where some of us have been alone a long time. So we are used to things our own way. I don't want to share my actual space with someone. I want the spoons and the knives to go where they belong. I want to be able to get up or watch TV or not do anything or make a hell of a noise. I was trying to learn how to use a reciprocal saw. Too bad Scotty wasn't here today. Um, and I'm still a little nervous using it. I'm cutting some wood pallets. And I was going to do something with it, but then I decided I'll probably just use some of the wood for maybe making a like a fire pit. Elizabeth is here. Hello, welcome, welcome. So she comes when I'm talking about burning things down, burning down the house. Um, but so when we think about memories, and this was triggered by Memorial Day for us here in the United States. And it is a direct response to remember our service people and our first responders, but it also triggers memories of family and people I've lost. And it's not like I don't think about them every day. And I did go to our local Memorial Day parade. It lasted 7 minutes. I'm in a very small town. We have very few military people in our community left alive. The young people don't seem to care. They're not as much of a participatory group of people, or they'll go to the larger towns that have much more fanfare. We have no fanfare. You do the parade and you're done. There's no hot dogs, there's no cookout, there's no anything to sort of memorialize or build community. But I still feel like it's important to go to show up for our community, and that's important for me. But the shadow side of blossoming is that the roots get disturbed, and when our flowers are growing or when our vegetables are growing. Sandra's here. Hello, Sandra. Welcome. So, what I mean by that is when you grow upward, your roots get shaken. The old memories, old patterns, old fears, they rise to the surface. I love how I'm using my hands. I'm talking with my hands. And it's like a memory or an experience comes back and say, hey, hello, best friend. Do you remember this situation? And it has a habit of undermining what we want to blossom. So if I wanted to build this business, the memories come back to remind me of whatever it is, mistakes, no experience, whatever it is. And it undermines the confidence for me. I'm wondering if any of you have been challenged with that. You want to embark on something, but there's this thing that's chaining you back or holding you back because you're either listening to an old voice or you're listening to people around you that are like, what are you, crazy? You can't do that. And that's still an old voice for me. That's the echo that I keep hearing when I want to consider expanding what it is. My life's not over. I have 20 plus years left. Or I could have tomorrow. But I don't want to be sitting here going, coulda, shoulda, woulda, didn't, because of those voices, memories, root killers, whatever you want to call them. So has anyone else sort of experienced that? Like, are any of your stories keeping you from trying something? Are they pulling you back into the soil and not letting you, burst through the earth and blossom? Is there one memory maybe that's resurfaced? And what has that memory taught you? And I'll share that the memory for me is the voice that says, are you out of your mind? You don't have any money. You don't have this. It's all the you don'ts. I focus really hard on trying to say, that was me before. And that was someone else's fear that I absorbed. Right, because of health problems. Absolutely, Carmel. That's the other thing that keeps me from wanting to do something. That's why I think my garden has been more of a challenge this year, because I've had a lot more chest pains and throat pains than I have in the most recent years. Yeah, Sandra says, yes, Teresa, I'm working on just those same old tapes, changing them to love, love, love. And that is true, right? So we have to just offer those voices love. I know that the negative barrage of stuff that has come at me in my lifetime, for the most part, was out of love. Gen X is in the house. And a happy birthday again. I went to one of his videos and I responded to the one that hasn't happened yet. I'm like, I'm wishing you a happy birthday. I can't stay up this late. And it was like one that was going to be coming up. Very funny. Clint says, yes, I was stuck on fear for about 12 years. Was real bad 3 years there, but I came the hell out of that period and I had to take control back. Absolutely. You don't have any money or any connection between what you do now and this other thing, or a business plan that would justify the investment, especially when you're trying to save for retirement. Exactly. NYP Debs is also in the house. Keep up with Schumann resonance because it affects our body whether we know it or not. And I agree with that. And I've been doing a lot of humming and vibrating and changing the tone as well in my body. And this is, this is conversation for us to say what stops us and how do we knock on those doors, especially if you are marching to that beat by yourself. And I'm very clear that I march to the beat of my own drummer, but I'm not the only one. Ooh, song. Um, and there's always this is where humor and truth meet the road, right? It's things are beautiful when they're blossoming, but they can be annoying. You could have 13 different smells and you're like, "Oh my god," and you just sneeze. So it does come down to taking that breath and projecting if it's really important. And that's the other thing. What's really important in your blossoming of self, of others, of community? What's important? Because if your heart's not truly in it, you need to just put it to the side. You're wasting your energy. And I'm talking to myself really when I say that. If I'm not fully invested, and I know I talked about this before, with hypnosis, with Reiki, with meditation, with grief counseling or grief education, I can't say counseling. Um, if your heart isn't in the space that says, I want to take this in this direction, stop because you are wasting energy that you could be nourishing to grow something else. Deb says solar flares can even affect pacemakers too. Oh, I didn't know that. The negative grabs into my mind, Sandra says, so fast and sneaky. I know I can stop them with a quick love, love, love. Yeah, Sandra. So those negative things come on really fast. I was having a really great day. Friday night, a friend took me out to dinner. Saturday, I was in my happy place at a garden center, picking out a couple of plants and celebrating, my birthday with lots of floral love, and tons of, outside love coming in. And then Sunday, I spent a lot of time in the garden, cleaning things up, putting things away, finishing the planting. And somewhere it was sneaking in there, this negative stuff. And I just went, literally, all I need is love. And where do you need the love to come from? Who? It's got to come here. I know it sounds hippy dippy, as Jimena would say, but it's not really hippy dippy. Love has to come from me in order for it to A, blossom out, but also for me to receive it. If I don't know how to love and give grace, how am I expected to receive it back? Elizabeth says, I'm getting better at realizing when I'm going through the motion. Yes, I agree, Elizabeth. Yes, Deb says, done it all too. And if you don't believe it will help, it won't. Organizing my life is helping. Not sure what I'm preparing, but I will be prepared. Well, so that's really true. And I will say, knowing that I'm going to be taking some time this coming month, helping take care of my brother's dogs while some other things are going on in his life, I'm going to be away from my home. So I have been on this major organization thing. That's why it was so important to get my plants, my veggies planted, my flowers planted, it organized in my backyard and the front yard. It was why I've been working on my she shed and getting that cleaned up. It's why I was working on my kitchen, which I'm in the throes of doing. And at the same time, in my bedroom, where I have put a whole bunch of stuff that I want to sell and or donate. And it's cluttered. So that was causing chaos. See how I turned that around? And the chaos is I need to release that which does not serve me anymore. And that will be true for us planting whatever dreams we have. We have to set aside that which will not serve us. Now, I'm not saying not to listen to people who might have more experience or are critiquing or offering advice in a respectful way. I'm referring to those people that are like, WTF? You can't have a community. What do you think you're doing? Who do you think you are? Rockefeller building up this. And those voices, I need to just say, that's okay. Thank you. Thank you for your advice or your comment. I'm all set. I didn't ask you for it. And that comes to me. We have to pick and choose the people with whom we want to share these ideas. I don't need a yes person. I need someone who knows my heart, knows my desire, knows my dreams, knows I want to find my purpose. Excuse me. So, this is the frustrating phase of blossoming, right? I'm doing the work, I'm journaling, I'm meditating, I'm drinking water and iced tea. Hold, please. And so, why am I this flower, this seed with so much anxiety? And this is the part where growth feels slow and sticky and stagnant. But it's all about integration. Debs says, I'm here for the cats. So that's my current purpose. Yeah. And I'm here for my pups and my kitty cat and my friends and my family. I mean, it's not like I'm not there, but it's a different arrangement. Elizabeth says, that's why they say when you are working on things, keep it close to the vest because naysayers are no joke and they can instantly deflate you. Ding, 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 ding. And it doesn't mean that at some point we have to have our come to Jesus moment where we're like, yep, nope, not a good idea. But it does come down to what am I, Teresa, willing to do in order to make XYZ happen? The chaos comes that I let the fear creep in to my garden. And it stunts the flower that is me from glowing. So I think that's one of those. Oh, wait, Deb says Elizabeth's opinion comes from everyone, but everyone is different. I've been called a drug addict because I take multiple supplements. Well, I don't know who's calling you a drug addict, but if you're taking supplements, call me crazy and I'm not an expert, nor do I play one on YouTube. That doesn't make you a drug addict. So I do take lots of medications. Does that make me a drug addict? I turn those people off. So I've gotten really good at using my stop sign. So I use my hand mentally in my head as a stop sign. This is where I have to pause. This is where I have to reflect before I speak. This is also where, and part of what Elizabeth says, you keep things to your vest. What is it that you really want to do? And then as you formulate that, it takes a plan. Gardening is a plan. I planted tomatoes, basils, and marigolds together in a pot. I will have nasturtiums all around my garden in the plants where I have carrots and onions and cabbage and broccoli and spinach so that those critters, those bugs, which are still good for the world, but I don't want them eating my veggies before I get to eat them. So it takes a plan. Every tiny growth triggers emotions for me. Blossoming doesn't require us to be this perfect version of perfection. It's the willingness to blossom. It's the willingness to step beyond the chaos, right? And I will also say that sometimes when we're slowing down in our blooming phase, it doesn't mean we're a failure. It's called pacing, right? If you're running a marathon, there's pacing. I'm not the right one, so maybe I shouldn't be talking about that. I don't run. And when I did back in my younger days, the pacing was step one in front, foot in front of the other. You can do one foot in front of the other. You can do it. You can do it. Okay, you can walk now. You can go back to running now. That was never my forte, but there were other sports that I played. So using that analogy, it's pacing. You don't want to use all your tips and tricks before you get to that, last moment in time. I'm going back to the comments for a second. People who didn't listen. Yeah. Um, Sandra says, yes, with every minute we are closer to our Zens. Yep. Elizabeth says, people get judgmental. They aren't working towards anything and they think you are the weird one for wanting to do something or something better. Absolutely. And that is truth. And Debs is agreeing. Good news even can cause jealousy and trigger some people. And I would say, look, I have friends, and a lot of you are here, and some are on the channels that are doing things that are outside convention. Reading tarot for the longest time was incredibly taboo, right? Reading the cards, working with crystals, doing meditation, doing yoga. What else did I did some things that doing Reiki. These are unconventional ways of, or non traditional ways of healing, of exploring. And I had this conversation not too long ago with someone who was, I don't want to say accusing. Yeah, they were accusing me of sort of being on the dark side of things. And I know I've talked about this here, and Richard and I, we have to put our heads together and talk about this from a Catholic perspective. But it was, you're sort of doing things in a devil worshiping way. And I wanted to say, and I did say to this particular person, okay, I've been going to church up to a certain point almost my whole life. I said, we sprinkled ashes. We did the incense up and down. These are all rituals. Who are you kidding? If I stand there for a moment in silence with my hands open in prayer to call anything that I choose to call in, I'm not calling in evil and darkness and whoosh. That's not what I'm doing. And I never claimed to. But I go into a quiet place when I do my Reiki healing. I go into a place when I do meditation. Um, I've had people tell me that in my meditations, they've never rested more deeply in that short period of time than anything else they've done, including taking medication. Sometimes I wish it would work on me, but so the point being, people are very quick to judge that stuff that doesn't jive with what they've been indoctrinated to. We just happen to be people who don't need to be indoctrinated in order to be valued or holy or godly or whatever the other adjective might be. This is my opinion, so please take it as such. There is no disrespect to anyone's religion. I have faith. I don't have religion. Religion to me, and this is why I want to talk with Richard, it's partly, and look, I loved going to church. The ritual of going to church and singing in church for me and being part of the ritual was as close to heaven as I thought I could come until as an adult and a self-thinker and a little bit of a revolutionary because I stepped away from things nobody thought I would step away from. I wonder if that would be an interesting story for people to hear. I mean, my trajectory was either becoming a nun or a mom, going down those one of those two paths. And I broke with tradition a long time ago, and I hated that women I were not seen as having value. And I broke that mold, and I didn't do it quietly in my family, in my life, with certain communities. And I was definitely put out on the outs. Now, I'm a nice person, so I didn't do it with, hostility, although there were occasions. I really feel or felt at that time that my voice mattered. What I wanted mattered. Now, I wasn't as good as fighting for myself as I was for every other woman around me. That's why so many of my old staff still keep in touch with me because I fought for them. I valued them as not just employees, but women who needed to be heard and were going to be skipped over because of either cultural issues or the way they presented themselves. And you show someone the way, at least in a professional world, they'll soar. They just didn't have anyone to show them. And I'm not threatened by women. I'm not threatened by any woman's success at all. Even if, and I think I've shared this, that I shared a whole bunch of ideas when I first started this journey back in 2017. I shared exactly what I wanted to do. And I didn't know to keep it close to the vest, as Elizabeth said. Those ideas were stolen in a heartbeat. Someone ran with it, created a whole business that I had almost lined up. I allowed that to negatively impact me. I was still happy that it worked for this person. I was happy my idea worked. But I live in such a small community, you can't have two of the same. And I'm not willing. Here's the chaos theory, right? I'm not willing to go to war about that. People will find me in the way they're meant to find me when the time is right. And I'm still struggling because I don't know where I'm meant to live. I don't know if I'm meant to stay here or move closer to my brother. If I move closer to my brother, two things. And this is where I have to have that come to Jesus moment for myself. I get to start completely from scratch. Nobody knows me in a community that may or may not receive me well, which is part of what I'm going to do over the next 30 days when I go and spend some time with him and take care of his dog and watch his house while some things are going on. So I get to see it and explore. Is this community something that would be receptive to some of the things I'd like to offer? Do I move there anyway now and rent a place someplace? Um, I don't know. It's all part of the journey, but I'm not going to fight to be seen in a small community where I already know who this person is. I already know that I have to own responsibility for sharing ideas that I probably should have kept to myself. Not that this person might not have figured it out, but I wrote the plan. I showed the plan. I told the plan. I explained everything about the plan. I had all the connections in the community and gave them all the like I just gave it to them. And maybe that's what I was supposed to do, right? Let me just get to the comments for a second. I've been chatting. We need to celebrate each other's successes. Absolutely, Deb. Richard says holy water, etc. It's all okay for mystics and prophets. Well, maybe not during their lifetime, but not for you. Absolutely, Richard. I really want to dive into this because it's not to disrespect religion. Catholicism is what I was raised with. But now you even see the Pope apologizing for things that had been done and said within the history of Catholicism. They could never apologize enough for what they've done to achieve the wealth that they have. Talk about, I was going to say something negative. I'm going to hold those words. Sandra says or because we want to improve ourselves, we're being uppity. Yes, I've suffered with depression my whole life. It's not traveling with me where I want to feel love. Yeah. Carmel says, you better stay off my crystals and minerals. You got it, bub. The divine has other plans. Absolutely. And that's the thing, Sandra. So well said. The divine, the plan is maybe my purpose was to show the way to somebody else. That doesn't mean I don't get to alter my plan, change my plan, or do it somewhere else. This person's business isn't doing as well as this person was hoping because this person isn't a nice person. This person's judgmental. That's not my story. That's that person's reputation. But that person also had a lot of backing and a lot of support and a lot of encouragement and has had multiple businesses, all of which have failed, but that doesn't mean this won't be the one that succeeds. And the things that I presented, it was a boilerplate of success. And it's really only one person's opportunity to make it fail or succeed. And every day I drive by, I send love and light. I send love and light because I had so much hate. I was like, no, that's not me. And that's just jealousy. And I was not in the place at the time to make that happen. I have holy water here. It's just something I use and it works for me. Yeah. Someone brought me holy water. I don't know if it was from Portugal. Was it from Portugal? It was a holy source. I think it's Portugal. Mother Mary appeared somewhere from there. Yes, absolutely. Fulfilling dreams and creating a YouTube channel. Look, I don't have the same following as other channels. I just figure people will find me, and if I resonate, great. I'm not this wizard of wisdom. I have wounds to wisdom. I'm showing that we can be flawed. We might not know what we're doing, but guess what? We become wise in the experience. We become wise in the sharing of our issues. I may not sit here today on YouTube going, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do A and B and C in this town. Come on over and do it here instead. Wherever I run to, I'm still here. Oh, that's from Buckaroo Banzai, right? Did anybody ever see the movie Buckaroo Banzai? Wherever you go, there you are. I love that movie. That was with Jeff Goldblum, and he's a professor now. Oh my God, I can't remember his name. Oh, fudge. Wow, Buckaroo Banzai, great movie. Funny, out there, woohoo, great music. I'm curious if anybody in the chat has seen Buckaroo Banzai. But it threw out a couple of good, zingers. And wherever you go, there you are. And I like that. Wherever I go, there I am. Can't get away from me. I'm the whole package. So where am I in my thought process? Peter Weller. That's it, RoboCop. Yes, loved him. He's now a professor or a doctor. He could be both. I don't know. So partly, you guys know that last year, 2025, I worked on the 12 universal laws of the universe. And so integrating these with this theme of blossoming, when we think about the law of correspondence, as within, so without, our inner garden reflects our outer experience. When old memories come out, it's because our inner world is rearranging itself to match our new growth. The law of rhythm, right? This is experience. Everything has cycles: blooming, resting, shedding, sprouting, stagnation. It's not a failure, it's just a shift in rhythm. Um, what's coming to mind is um, Gloria Estefan, shake your rhythm. The law of attraction, right? And Debs was sort of talking about this a little bit. The bloom attracts what matches our frequency, including the lessons we need to release. So if I put out there I'm a failure, I'm going to get that back. If I put out into the world, whatever it is, I'm healthy, I'm brave, I'm courageous, I'm intuitive, I am successful, I can have this business, I can do these things, I can own that old age community for those of us that don't have people in our life that will be there to take care of us. I can do that. I just have to put it out there. We have to put the possibility out there. And I believe that it can happen. But we have to want to put it out there. And then the law of cause and effect, right? Every small action, planting the seed in the earth, watering that seed, um, putting on nutrients and, giving it the right light and the right temperature and weeding, it creates this little ripple effect. Even if we can't see the bloom yet, and I am waiting for these peas to come out of the earth like you would not believe. And they're called cow peas, by the way. Um, I know we talked about it last week. It's absolutely everything in its own time and place. Everything has its own motion, its own rhythm, its own interpretation of when it's time to burst out of the earth, right? And it's not always graceful. I'm not always a graceful person. Sometimes it's messy, it's emotional. I, wanted to cry, and then I'm like, why do you want to cry? And I'm like, I'm sad. Why am I sad? I have so much to be grateful for. And as Sandra said earlier, I had to not talk myself out of the dark thing, but it I also feel like that's a test. Um, am I allowing those negative voices to prevent me from doing what I really want to do? And so by saying, sort of questioning that moment in time, I'm preventing seeping into that depression. Doesn't mean I don't sink into depression. I do. But I'm not stuck and I'm not behind and I'm not, my rhythm isn't jammed. It's just a different flow. And I want to encourage anybody, no matter how old you are, it's never too late to do something that brings you some semblance of joy, success, creativity. We all don't have to be, I know cow pie pea sounds better. It does, Cromel. And when they grow, I'm going to show you guys a picture. But anyway, I don't want to keep you. It's almost time for us. And so, Debs, antidepressants, Tylenol don't work on my body. I've got a real weird body. Had to go in hardcore. Walking in rhythm, moving in style, 70s song I heard 30 minutes ago. Oh, that's funny. Sandra, I had multiple tries, but I am very affected by small amounts. And this guy started at 10 milligrams, and before I knew it, I was on 100 milligrams. It was like being 100% numb, no emotions, still take my anxiety meds. Yeah, look, guys, we all have to do what is necessary for us to get through every day and to survive. Our bodies are really receptacles of our experiences. I've shared this before, I'll share it again. One of the things that I do every single day, and I've been doing it for about 2 weeks, is being grateful for everything that I don't even have yet. So, thank you for this fantastic weather today. It hasn't even happened, but I'm grateful and I say I'm thankful before it even happened. I am thankful for all of the lovely messages that came my way this past weekend. And it came to fruition before it even happened, right? So if you put it out there, I also talk to my body. I'm like, okay, where is it hurting the worst? I am so thankful that that pain in my shoulder is gone and I can move my arm. And I repeated that until I believe it happened. Same thing with the darkness. I thank the light for shining brightly on the dark thoughts that I've been experiencing and releasing them. If I say it beforehand, I mean it, I release it, I let it go. It really does keep me more grounded. So when the sneaky darkness comes in, when the doubt and the hesitation comes in, I'm able to say, not every day, by the way, but I try. No, I am grateful and appreciative, and I am so thankful that my idea of building this community for senior women who have no place to go and no family to take care of them has come to fruition. And I'm envisioning it now. I'm envisioning what I want it to look like. I'm envisioning that, we're going to have staff on site. Everything I'm trying to envision, I believe will happen. And at some point, if I have to share what I'm thinking to somebody else to build it, I will share that. And maybe that's my purpose. Okay, let's see. Yes, gratefulness is the key. I am hoping it is getting better, a bit cooler. Oh, we're sending you cool weather. Absolutely. You guys, Cremel's experiencing some hot weather in his neck of the woods. So I wish him a little bit cooler. Yes, we are all lucky to be here. And I think what for me makes that statement true is I feel incredibly blessed that you are all on this journey with me, that you're here, that you're participating, that you're sharing. That is so critical and validating because I don't feel alone. For so long, I have felt alone. Doesn't mean we have the same experiences. And this isn't a one-upmanship. It's okay, I'm experiencing this situation, but look at what everybody else is bringing to the table. Yeah, it's great to have the emotions. We've got to release them. So, as of right now, I think I told everybody last week, I'm only doing one show a week for about 30 plus days. Now, that might change this week because there's been a little hiccup in that plan. I may or may not go live Thursday, but for now, I'm going to go live only on Tuesdays, 5 p.m. Eastern. I will be sending posts out for updates, so watch my posts. Otherwise, I send you all with so much gratitude, love, health, companionship, love, consideration, hope, joy, sprinkled with so much laughter and giggles. So until I see you guys again, whenever that may be, and on someone else's channel, may you truly be blessed. May you truly have love. I am so appreciative of all of you being here. Mwah! Thank you so much. Bye, guys.